Welcome back, 3Cs. Last lesson we talked about how to numerically represent data, just kind of summarizing it in a single number with measures of central tendency. But we know sometimes we like to see visually what things look like. So we also have some graphical methods of representing data, some visual ways of doing it. So we're going to kind of cover that off in this lesson. So before we do that, we need to talk a little bit about how we represent data. So we have one big kind of dividing line that we talk about with data. That's discrete or continuous. So these two are going to come up quite a bit, so make sure you remember these. Let's talk about them really quickly. So for discrete data, it's anything that's countable, that has gaps between the numbers. So something like shoe size would be a discrete measure. So shoe size usually goes up by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sometimes maybe you have a 12 and a half or 11 and a half. But generally they fit into specific categories. So that would be an example of discrete. So something you couldn't have, let's say, 12.875 shoe size. I mean, in theory, you might be able to, but good luck trying to find a shoemaker that will do that for you. So for continuous data, it's anything that's not countable. It's a range of data, doesn't have any gaps in it. So let's say something like your height would be example of something that's continuous. You could have a height of 181.326 centimeters if you really wanted to. Or let's say time. If you're a race car driver, then they can measure it down to the split second. So that's another example of something that's continuous. So something where when we're looking at, there's no specific categories, it's just a constant measure. It's a range of data, and there's no gaps. You can have any number in between. Sometimes data may be a list of numbers or words. You may wish to organize these numbers or words into a table or tally to make it easier to transfer into a graphic later on. So to give us an example here, the following data was collected for hair color of a class at McKinnon Park Secondary School. And we're going to create a frequency or tally table. So this is a long list right here. So we're going to count it up on the next page. Let's see how many. Let's start by counting up the black-haired people. We did one of these tallies in the last lesson, so hopefully this should be pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 5 here. Yep, there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have a frequency of 5. For brown hair, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're looking for blonde. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we have the red. 1, 2, 3, 4. If it helps you more, you could even just go from start to finish, do black, put a little tick into your tally to help you count up. Either way works. So you could do a tick in the blacks, a tick in the blacks, tick in the browns, tick in the blonde, and so on and so forth, and then add them up after. Either way is going to work fine for you. Just do whatever one makes the most sense for you. So next, we're going to take that and we're going to put it into a bar graph. A bar graph, they're only used for discrete data. So only stuff that can be split into separate categories. If it's continuous, like your height, we can't really do it. Each data type gets their own bar, and how often they occur determines the height of the bar. So in this case, I've set up the categories, and your own graphs, you're going to have to set them up for yourself. And then we're going to measure the frequency of each one. So for black hair, we said that's going to be 5. You're going to use a ruler for this one, but just because it's a little hard to do with my tablet, I'm going to just draw as neatly as I can. So we said 5 in our frequency table. For black, we go back to the frequency table again for brown, and it's going to be 8. So go right up to the 8 mark, and that is for brown. And then for blonde, we said we had 7. And for red, we had 4. And that is our bar graph. And usually you're going to want to give it some sort of descriptive title up top, just saying exactly what the graph is, and then you're good to go. So that's your bar graph. And just remember, we only use discrete or categorical data for a bar graph. Next one we have is called a pictograph. Pictographs display the same information as bar graphs, but instead of a bar, it lists small pictures that have something to do with the information provided. In the graph below, we will use one of these symbols to represent 2 people with that hair color. So for this one, we're going to have a little hair, a little wig for each 2 people. For black, we had 5 people, so we divide that by 2. It's going to be 2.5. So don't mind my bad drawing here. So 1 for the first 2, second 2, and then we're going to have half a wig for the 5th. So that's 2, 4, and then for the 5th one there. Then for the brown, we had 8, so that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. So we're going to have 4, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully your art skills are better than mine. That's why I'm not an art teacher. That's why I'm a math teacher. For blonde, we had 7, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then for red, we had 4, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how you do a pictograph. That's all you need there. So lastly, the one other graph that you're going to see for our discrete data is what we call a circle graph. And with a circle graph, you've seen these hopefully before, a pie chart. Okay. All you do is we need to know the percentage that each category has of the whole data set. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each of those categories and we're going to divide it by the total number of data points. So we had 5 black, 8 brown, 7 blonde, and 4 red. Add those 4 numbers up, 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 4, and it is 24 people total in our group. So we're going to divide by 24 for each one. And when you punch that into the calculator, you get 0.21 or 21%, 0.33 or 33%, 0.29 or 29%, and 0.17 or 17%. And a good quick double check here, if you did this right, they should all add up to 1 or 100%. So if you add up the 0.21 plus 0.33 plus 0.29 plus 0.17, it should add up to 100%. The next step, because we have 360 degrees in a circle, we're going to multiply those percentages by 360. So we're going to take that 0.21 from the first one, we're going to multiply by 360. And that's going to be 76 degrees. Next, we're going to take 0.33 and multiply by 360. It's going to be 119 degrees. Do the same thing for the other 2, and that's going to be 104 degrees and 61 degrees. And if you did that correctly, those should add up to 360 degrees, just like those add up to 1. So lastly, let's make our graph here. And of course, on my note here, my protractor unfortunately cannot move. It's a good idea to have your own protractor, just so you can do this neatly. But just to help us, I'm going to draw a little one at the side here. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil with the protractor. Hopefully you're not you're using a protractor. If you don't have a protractor, you can get one easily at the dollar store. Hopefully there's one near you that you can get one. Otherwise, this might be a little bit tricky. And you're going to just draw out. You're going to start with a line, usually up at the top. Right down to the center. And we're going to start with black. And we said that was 76 degrees. So with my protractor here, I'm going to draw 76 degrees. And we're going to label that black. And we can put in the percentage too, just so people know exactly, because knowing the percentages is helpful. Next, we're going to have red, which was, we said it was going to be 61 degrees. So measuring from one end of your black category, we're going to measure 61 degrees. And that's going to be here. So red, that's going to be 17%. Then we have the blonde category. And we said blonde was going to measure 104 degrees, which is going to be right around here. Hopefully you're good with using a protractor. If you're not, then come and check in with me, and we'll arrange a video chat time to hopefully get it all sorted out. And lastly, we have brown. And if you did this correctly, check with your protractor, make sure this angle works properly. But this is going to be 119 degrees, or 33%. And just remember, those percentages I took are just from our chart here, just those decimals, and we put them into into percent form. 21%, 33%, 29%, 17%. And that's all we did there. And now that we've done that, then we have a fully drawn circle graph. So as I mentioned, it's a little hard to do on my tablet, so I'm just trying to draw as neatly as I can. Make sure for your graphs that you're drawing with a ruler and hopefully a protractor if you've got one, and that will give you the most accurate results. So that's pretty much it for this lesson. As long as you're good with those three types of graphs and continuous and discrete data, then you have learned everything you need to for this lesson. Go to some practice questions, and we'll deal with histograms and distributions in the next lesson. Thanks, everyone. Bye.